Hello, everybody. I just wanted to make a video because I would often see this as a common sort of symptom or neurotic state of a lot of people, including myself, in so many ways in this world that we live under today of such incredible complexity and confusion, almost in this stance of a certain social crises in a way. And I wanted to talk about the topic of identity. And I mean, using ChatGPT because whatever, ChatGPT, and it's in one way, whatever, and it's not an opinion piece, so about ChatGPT. But um, what if who you are isn't who you are? Okay. So I just want to bridge how my journey through understanding identity has kind of provided a bit of clarity or awareness, and hopefully give you some clarity on how to navigate this world without feeling depressed. This there's a tendency when we hold on to identity like a solid object that we need to perform correctly or perform in the right way, that it can hold us back. So with if a symptom of this position would often be a depressive state. So I'm unable to perform my identity correctly, given how I'm understood and how I understand myself. Maybe it might also be a manic state where I'm attempting, or I've been working so hard at attempting to perform this identity, and I'm not getting the result that I wanted. And then it might also be socially solidified, and that people around you keep telling you, or they're telling you, or they have the solution to how to achieve the identity of which you desire, and they have some means of supporting you. And this is then the result of a transactional relationship without authenticity, but also questioning authenticity in the same sense. So going back, yeah, what if who you are isn't who you are? What if we don't need to hold on to an idea of ourselves? And what if that idea of ourselves is not actually keeping us together or keeping you together or me together, but is actually tearing us apart and destroying us? So if I create a trajectory of ideas that allowed or supported me to growing my awareness of identity, and kind of unraveling it from strangling me to my grave, through addiction and mental illness. And I'm not saying I'm out of this, because I don't know about you, but I'm very embedded, and I'm kind of I it's hard to let go of social media. It's hard to let go of other people's understandings of reality. It's hard to let go of advertising. It's so much fed into us that either an idea of ourselves is sold to us, or an idea of ourselves is taught to us, but not in a way that supports our flourishing and growth and independence and understanding and awareness, but rather to control and manipulate us. And that's where we want to get out of. We want to get out of the controlling position and the manipulation. So I wanted to have this conversation about, or this dialogue about identity. So from my direction and understanding, it for me it started kind of unlocking at a deeper level when I was reading Eckhart Tolle. So Eckhart Tolle is somebody who really speaks about the ego, and he doesn't really speak about gender ideology in any sense. He's not that type of thinker. He's within what people call New Age humanism, I believe. So he's attempting a position that allows people to work within a personal framework that allows an opportunity to detach from ego. And what really allowed me as unraveling or release from the clutches of identity was his idea that or his theories that kind of allowed me to understand that, wait, ego is the part of myself, if you want to sort of conceptualize identity, that held on to all of this in the sense of these words, these concepts, these meanings, and the ego. And he he's there to say the ego is not solid. It's simply there as a means to falsely protect you from something that doesn't exist. Zizek wouldn't necessarily say that, or Lacan wouldn't necessarily say that it's not about protection from this false enemy, but rather it's protection from the void or the real. And the real is this sort of essential quality of reality, that we come from chaos and that we don't have pure access to reality, and that the ego is a means to protect ourselves from this chaotic void that makes up this experience that we're going through. So Lacan and Zizek would also argue is that, okay, we're not, or we shouldn't completely dissolve the ego. The ego is not something to completely dissolve. We can acknowledge that it is like liquid. It is something to support our understanding, but it is not something we should vanquish, or that we could vanquish. We kind of need a symbolic, or we need sort of an interpretation. We need meaning. We need language in order to understand how to navigate the world. So from there, I started to unravel. Okay, wait. In my sense, it was all of these neurotic patterns and mental illness and depression might not be so solid, and there might not be anything for me to hold on to so deeply. Even at the time, it was a lot about appearances, but even I was also attempting to perform a proper form of masculinity that would allow me a sense of feeling included in the world, and that's not inclusion in the healthy sense. It's not belonging that I was striving for, and so I just wanted to go further into, once I started to realize this, I started to attach this to what I had learned from Judith Butler about gender. So Butler, within their work, was somebody who was trying to communicate that identity is not who we are. It's what we do. It's performed, it's repeated, it's cited. So it's not something that we want to completely dissolve. Like I said before with Zizek, it's not something that we want to dissolve. It's not that, like, reality is language is simply destroying us, and gender is destroying us. It's nothing like that. It's more so that identity is liquid. It's something moving through space and time, just like us, and we don't have to hold on to it so intensively, and we don't have to aspire towards it, because each one of us in this world is unique. I believe each one of us is a sort of unique creature or essence, attempting or striving to understand or produce meaning through this experience until we pass. And Butler was kind of a key figure in my understanding of identity, that helped me unravel that even Even my hold on masculinity was pushing me back or holding me back. I Butler would argue that gender is not something, say, ingrained like or inscribed in a rigid way into our genetic makeup, but rather is a process of epigenetic phenomenon that is moving and changing through time and space. So, just as much as we are a product of our parents and a sort of genetic lineage, but we're also very much moving and changing through our environments and the people that we meet in the situations that we're faced with. So furthermore, from Butler, I then kind of wanted to kind of take the approach of the toxicity that we live under when it comes to the stories. Okay, and this is the stories that we are fed about who we should be and how to perform ourselves correctly. And I want to come to Lauren Berlant, and what Lauren Berlant told me in their theory, particularly under cruel optimism, is that we cling to identity. We cling to identities because they promise happiness, but that promise often hurts us. And if I interlink this with Zizek's theory about imperatives of enjoyment, imperatives of happiness, this sort of ongoing discourse we might see within universities and advertising and social media about, if you're not performing, if you're not happy, then there's something wrong with you. Or if you're not successful, then there's something wrong with you. These sort of stories that we carry, and I think what Zizek would argue is that we have these fantasies or these dreams that are held up to us, in an imperative sense that, okay, this is how to live life correctly. We need to have the career, we need to have the job, we need to have the house, we need to have the partner, we need to have the exercise regime, we need to have the food, we need to have all of these particular things, the body, in order to be seen and be recognized and be appreciated and be good in this world, be successful. But I don't know about you, but and you probably also feel this, is it's underbelly effect is that we end up in depressive states. We end up in the super ego, repressive state where we end up hating ourselves. We end up treating ourselves with so much disrespect. We end up destroying ourselves. We end up isolating ourselves. We end up depressed, neurotic, if we're unable to fulfill it. And we're also in kind of enclosed into these stories by our friends and our family and the people around us in advertising, that if only we can learn how to enjoy these things that we're achieving, say the job, the relationships, the regimes, the foods, whatever, that we will be happy, and that we need to be happy. I don't know about you, but that's always something I have always been told. Why aren't you happy? Why aren't you happy? So, cruel optimism kind of allowed me to open up and understand all of this forced need to be happy, this forced need to be good, and put language into my experience of a deep depression of, oh, why am I pushing myself so hard? So just concluding everything from here, I just wanted to have some questions to put out. Is that in regard to Eckhart Tolle and his how he supported me on how I understand identity is the goal to drop identity completely? Um, should we be performing identity in a certain way? How do we survive it? And if I let go of this idea of identity, how might it provide me with a way of seeing others and seeing myself for what they are rather than what they should be? Maybe this task, generally speaking, isn't about authenticity so much, and that's I think from a social awareness level, that's a conversation that keeps coming up now. Is that okay if we strip ourselves of all of this control mechanisms of identity production, then we can reach authenticity. But maybe there isn't even an object of authenticity. Maybe life was always constructed by a lack. Maybe life was always constructed by something that we don't need to have access to, and that we might need to learn how to sit with the discomfort of not exactly knowing and yet still living within a world of language and symbolism, because it's necessary in order to coexist as a species, but also relaxing its grip on our our lives so much. So just generally ending with a question. So who are you really? Who are you? And are you ready not to know who you are? Okay, thanks. Bye.